Welcome to Jersey Rules, where we discuss the latest laws and trends happening in the state of New Jersey that affects the lives of New Jerseyans. Today we're talking about a very important law that affects businesses and communities throughout New Jersey, and we have the primary sponsor to one of the bills combating this problem that we're dealing with, and that is retail theft. Assemblyman Danielsen, first and foremost, how did you come upon this problem, or come upon wanting to tackle this problem in legislation?
Well, it's this problem of organized retail theft was brought to my attention, one, by staying in touch with the business community, having discussions with advocates and community leaders. This problem of organized retail theft is damaging to the core at every level of our communities. So it's almost impossible not to know about it.
Sure. How would you describe the difference between traditional, pickpockets and things like that, and this actual problem of people going in organized and taking things from stores?
You know, it's almost like an old Western movie when a group of men jump off the horses and run in and rob the bank and ride away into the sunset. But now it's a grocery store, it's a pharmacy, it's a clothes store, it's a jewelry store. It's the same concept. But the problem here in New Jersey, like some other states, is we didn't have the definition in our law and the subsequent punishments to proportionately and appropriately target this type of crime.
So the bill number is A4755. When it came to crafting this, who did you talk to, or the constituents and advocates that you talked to? What were their feedback to you? What were they saying to you?
Well, the feedback was clear that first we have to define what it is and how they operate. So we needed specialists that have investigated these crimes and victims that suffered these crimes. But then when you talk to the prosecutors, the police chiefs, the detectives, they needed the tools and the allowances within the law to focus specifically on these organized crime syndicates. And now, thanks to this bill, we were able to craft details in the bill that covered all those bases.
Now you said they're organized crime syndicates, so you think there is a overarching organized crime ring that is doing this?
In some cases, because it's a multi-state operation. So we've seen them move from state to state. Where it gets too hot, they move to another state, they operate there, and they come back. And that takes organization.
So when you crafted this legislation, your colleagues in other states, were you able to reach out to them and kind of get an idea of the movements and how they're operating, just to craft this legislation in a way where when they're applied, it's not as if they can go across lines, like you're saying, like Old West style, and be like, oh, we're not here anymore?
Yeah, I mean, luckily, not only did law enforcement go across state lines to learn and investigate, but also our business community has multi-state operations, and they see what's working in other states and what's not. Some states had no laws, like New Jersey, that address this, and some did. So what happens is you see states like New Jersey that enact laws to fight this type of crime. They tend to go away from those states and they move on to the next state that doesn't have the law. And now we have other states that are modeling their legislation from New Jersey.
Okay, that's awesome, because we like to be leaders in New Jersey.
We are.
I'm glad we have you to step up and write these things. Was it major corporations that reached out, or was it more mom and pop stores? Like, was it Walmart or your local store that sold clothes or small goods?
It was all of it, actually. Right down the street, a gentleman I'm friends with, he and his wife own a pharmacy, just one pharmacy, and they got hit 3 times. There's my friend also down the street. He has one jewelry store. Then you have you look at the ShopRite. It's all boarded up. And so pharmacy, jewelry store, could even be a cannabis store. very often, you look at the pharmacies, they're providing a critical service and a product. And if that gentleman can't make money, he's going to close up. So that means that affects his family, it affects that local neighborhood, it affects the community. Just because of these organized retail crime people just want to go in and they just want to destroy for their own profit. This isn't about stealing a candy bar and a soda. This is about putting a business out of business. And this law that we have in New Jersey now has turned the tables. Now these criminals are the prey, and we're winning.
So you mentioned the ShopRite that got shuttered. Before this legislation was signed by Governor Murphy, I think in the last, 3 weeks? This was recently signed. What was the recourse that businesses had, if there was any?
Well, sometimes they felt completely unarmed, and some wouldn't even call the police. Like, what's to do? 5 people run in, they're all masked, they're wearing gloves, they take the product and they run. What are you going to do with that? Some do call the police. Some can, if they're large enough, can write it off for a period of time. But at some point, it gets so bad with repeated thefts that it's not worth doing business there. And if you look at a grocery store, and the problem throughout a lot of communities where there's not enough grocery stores, they work on very small margins. They're a volume business. And if these criminal organizations steal that last little percentage of margin, there's no reason to stay in business. They close down because you already have enough variables in the business environment that make it difficult possibly to make money, and then this could be the last straw. Could be the first straw or the last straw. And when someone wants to locate their business, they're going to search for a community best to locate and best to be successful. We want New Jersey, the entire state, to be a community that's safe from these criminals and most probable to be successful and make money.
So big picture, what are you hoping this law facilitates for the future of New Jersey, our neighbors, our businesses, and our economy going forward?
Our goal with this legislation is to put these organized criminal organizations out of business and to help grow and attract new businesses throughout all our communities so we're all successful.
And these are my final questions. What would you tell to a business owner who wants to start a business, who is unaware of these problems, but I heard about your legislation that went forward? What would you say to them to encourage them that it's safe to have a business here in New Jersey?
Well, it is safe to do and have a business in New Jersey. Now it's even safer. Now we are creating an even better environment that's business friendly, community friendly, and that we are on your side and we're partners with you in your success.
As this legislation goes forward, is there any other legislation that you think you would want to bring in to facilitate, more businesses?
Well, we are working on other projects that involving safety within the business community, like the gift card scams. We're looking at that and other types of theft. I speak for all my colleagues in the legislature and the governor in saying that we are willing and ready and looking for opportunities to change the law further to further improve our business environment in New Jersey. New Jersey is a fast-changing state, and the legislature is committed to be equally as fast-changing. We will address every problem presented to us, and we will review every possible solution to improve your business, improve your community, and make your tomorrow a little bit better.
Thank you. Thank you. Assemblyman Joe Danielsen, it was awesome having you on Jersey Rules.
And thank you for getting the word out.
You guys do the work to keep New Jersey safe, so it's always a pleasure to talk about it.
Thank you.